Simply Cooking by MmmChef is brought to you in part by Findlay Foods, offering wholesale food distribution services in Ottawa, Kingston, and all points between since 1986.
Today I'm having a barbecue party and I've invited a special guest. I'm going to fire up the grill and we're going to grill up some wonderful cuts of meat and I'm going to turn this watermelon into a salad. You don't want to miss this. I love a great barbecue. I barbecue all year round and I love the flavor of a grill. I wanted to do an episode about a barbecue party. It's something that I offer my clients all the time, and a lot of my clients will book me for backyard barbecue parties where I stand at the grill and prepare all the food and clean up for them so that they can enjoy their own party with a drink in their hand and a plate in the other. Today I'm going to be using the grill and I'm going to be making a salad and showing you how to prepare a spread for, a small barbecue party of 6 to 8 people. I actually have a special guest with me today. I'm gonna have my friend from Ottawa Valley Meats, Neil, with me in a little while. He's actually gonna be bringing the meats for us to grill. I don't know what he's bringing yet. He's just gonna bring an array so that we can all try something new. And the reason I wanted to ask Neil on my show is because you all have heard me talk about grass-fed meat, pasture-raised. You've seen the pork products that I make with my family, and actually that's where I get my pig the last few years, is from Ottawa Valley Meats. They're one of the only meat suppliers from Farm Direct that actually have their own slaughterhouse, and they control and know where all of their meats come from. And you all know that's something that's really important to me because I, as a holistic nutritionist, also know the importance of the proper way to raise an animal not only is good for them and the environment, but it's also better for us because the nutrient density of an animal that's eaten its own species appropriate diet, like a cow that eats grass versus a cow that eats grain, the profile of nutrition is just incomparable. So anyway, we're gonna be out at the barbecue a little bit later, but first I wanted to show you one of my most popular summer salad barbecue outdoor backyard party dishes that I make probably 5 or 6 times every summer season for my clients. This is one of my favorite salads that I crave as soon as watermelons are in season. I have a watermelon here. I picked it because it sounded really, full, which means that it's nice and juicy. I gave it a good knock and I can hear that it's really dense. I pick it up and it's really, really heavy. That means that the flesh inside has a lot of juice in it. I'm going to be using this whole entire watermelon. I'm making a watermelon, feta, berry, arugula with some balsamic and red onion platter / salad that will go really nicely with our grilled meats. Earlier, I actually set up a tray with some peaches and corn and some pineapple to throw on the grill as well. But I showed you that last season in my Grill It episode, so you don't need to see that again. So I'm gonna be using this whole entire watermelon. So this is how I like to cut it when I'm using the whole thing. I cut it the same way that I would a pineapple. Take the 2 ends off, and then I flip it upwards and cut around the edges the same way that I cut a pineapple. You can do this with honeydew and cantaloupe as well. They have the seeds on the inside. So after you finish cutting all the skin off and it's a globe, that's when you would cut it in half and scoop out the seeds. But since this is a seedless watermelon, we don't need to do that. Then I like to flip it over the other way so that I can just clean it up really nicely. This salad is something that you can make with a lot of different bases. I've made this exact same salad with a tomato base, with a peach base, with grilled pineapple, and other types of melon. But this watermelon version is just a fan favorite. So I'm gonna cut my melon in half, put them down, and I like big pieces for this salad. So I'm going to make strips, turn, and do it again the other way. Look at this beautiful melon and all of that lovely juice. I don't want to lose any of the juice because that will help make my dressing on the bottom of the bowl. All right, I have my melon. So I actually have some sheep milk feta here. I love to use goat or sheep feta. It's more traditional. It has, in my opinion, better flavor profile, and it's actually better for your digestion because goat and sheep dairy is easier to digest than cow dairy for humans. And I have a little bit of a purple onion here. I'm just gonna give this a quick, you know what? I said that I wasn't going to cut onion on camera ever again because it makes me cry every single time. So I broke my rule. Let's see what happens. Let's give this a really quick slice. Looks like this onion isn't that deadly, so I might end up having dry eyes, which is nice. Now I'm gonna move this here. At this point is when I like to drizzle with a little bit of olive oil and balsamic vinegar. I actually like to pour the balsamic vinegar with the intention of just getting it on the red onion. This helps take the bite out of the onion. It's kind of like a quick pickle and helps to add flavor. You can actually do this with onions where you slice up onions and put them in a jar and cover it with balsamic. They're delicious. All right, I've got blackberries that I'm gonna be adding to the mix. I'm going to crumble my feta. Sheep and goat feta also tends to be a little bit softer than a processed cow feta. Give this a nice little stir. Look at that. That looks beautiful. Just rinse my hands real quick. Oops. That's what happens on real TV. We don't stop and restart here. I just have to keep going. So even when I drop stuff. I've got some fresh basil I'm tearing. We all know basil is my favorite flavor, and I love this salad with basil. My mint fell down, so I have some fresh mint here that I'm just gonna pull off my stem and do the same thing. I like to leave it a little bit whole. It adds some really nice, great herbaceous aroma and some really nice texture. Then I'm just going to give a quick, fresh turn of my black pepper. We all know I like to be really generous with the sea salt, so I'm gonna be quite generous with the sea salt. The sweetness of the watermelon will really soak up that savory salt. And then this is my favorite microgreen. A microgreen is a baby plant. This actually contains the most nutrition in the plant world. Baby plants have the most nutrition, but they also punch the most flavor. So this is a baby arugula, and I'm just going to pour that on top. Look how beautiful this salad is. Oh, I think I hear Neil pulling up. Let me get this to the side. I'll fire up the grill, get my platters of veggies and fruit out, and we'll meet you outside with Neil to grill up the meat. See you then.
This program is brought to you in part by Findlay Foods, providing wholesale food distribution services including gluten-free, halal, kosher, and many other products in the Ottawa and Kingston areas.
Food and discussion go hand in hand. Join the conversation on Instagram at @MmmChef. Send us your questions. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like to make. Maybe even send a picture of your own culinary creations. Good food, bringing people together for centuries.
I've got the barbecue fired up and it is getting nice and hot, and my friend Neil from Ottawa Valley Meats got here and he brought us this beautiful array of meats for our barbecue party today. And thank you, Neil, for joining me.
You're so
and
welcome.
Coming to my party. And I love Ottawa Valley Meats. Many of you have seen me use my pork products on a lot of my past episodes, and I get my full hog right from Neil and his awesome company. They're a local Ottawa company, and I couldn't be happier to have them here with me, because as we know, the quality and the localness and even, you know, how the animals were raised is really important to me, and that's something that I've been talking about since I started my business. And I haven't found another meat shop besides them that falls in line with all of the values that I have. So thanks for coming, and tell me what you brought us.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Daniela. I brought a bunch of goodies here. We've got some beautiful free-range chicken. We have Megan down in the South Mountain area that takes care of those.
Wow, that's so close.
Yeah, that's a nice bone-in, skin-on chicken. It's awesome for the barbecue there. I've got some great sausages here. We got honey garlic and bratwurst sausages. We have Golden Rail Farms down in the Finch area that take care of that for us. This is organic pork, all right? This is the real deal here.
That's the stuff that I really, really love to focus on.
It's so good.
Making sure that, you know, the animals are raised in a traditional way, that they're eating what they're supposed to eat.
Absolutely, you got it.
Because it's not just good for them, it makes a more nutrient-dense meat and gives us more nutrition, right?
You are what you eat, right?
Yeah, we really are.
Absolutely. Oh, look at those. Those are going to be so good. Can't
Yum.
wait for those to get finished there.
These are going to go really nice with that watermelon salad. Oh, it'll be great.
Cannot wait for that. Take a look at those chops. Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
We're putting these on in this order because the chicken breast is going to take the longest amount of time. These sausages probably second, chops third, and we like our steak, you know, rare, medium rare. So these will be the fastest thing to cook.
Yeah, and just real quick before we put the pork chops on,
Yeah.
I brought you the bone-in breast because whenever you're cooking the chicken on the barbecue with that bone, you're gonna get so much more flavor.
Oh, so
out.
much more flavor,
Yeah.
and so much more juiciness
Oh, yeah.
back in the meat.
You got it. And these pork chops, nice bone-in chop as well. Once again, these are coming from Golden Rail Farms in the Finch area. Eat one of these and
I'm
tell
gonna
me
have to put this one up here.
yeah, tell me that's not one of the best chops you ever have in your life.
Oh,
after
they
you
look
eat it.
beautiful. All I did was season the chops and the chicken breast with a little bit of salt and garlic powder. The flavor in the meat is enough that we don't need to add anything else. And my steaks, I just salted them. I didn't add anything else because I bet you this steak is got enough flavor on its own.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give a big shout out to my good friend Eric Patno from Gillette Farms for taking care of the beef for us here. These are our AAA Angus right here. Oh, look at those New York strip lines.
And look at that marbling.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it just gorgeous?
Yeah.
You don't typically find marbling like this in a steak that you get at a big box store. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And what are we going to do? We're going to do about 4.5 minutes
On
aside.
each side, yeah.
Get ourselves
Salted side down. I actually only like to season up one side of my meat, especially when you have high quality meat where you want the flavor itself to shine. And then, you know, the guests can add their own salt if they need more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look at that. Oh, it's going to be one heck of a barbecue here, eh?
I am so excited, Neil.
Perfect.
So where does your company service? And tell me a little bit about how it started
Yeah.
and your whys.
Absolutely. So Ottawa Valley Meats, we've been around now since 2018. We service all the Ottawa area. We're in Quebec now as well, and we service the GTA.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, and really we just started this company because we wanted to give people, you know, the opportunity to buy directly from farmers, something, you know, healthy, something local, and really it's just been an amazing journey working with our local farmers and, you know, helping out our community as well. So just recently, as of last year, we just decided to purchase a slaughterhouse in the Chesterville area. So very proud to say that we do all the butchering, we do all the slaughtering of the animals. We own one of the last provincially inspected abattoirs in Eastern Ontario. an abattoir is just a slaughterhouse.
Yes.
Butchery,
I actually
right?
drove all the way there this past February to pick up my whole hog when I was getting ready to make the salami and sausages and pork products that you guys see me use. It is so important and such a big deal for me to know that I can know where the animals are taken.
Absolutely.
This isn't something that is actually readily available here in North America at all, unless you're going to the farm direct.
Yep.
So these guys, in my opinion, are probably one of the first to kind of bridge that gap between the farm and the consumer without having 6 or 7 other middlemen in between.
Absolutely.
That allows us consumers to save a little bit of money on a higher quality product, and also knowing where it comes from. I can't stop talking about Ottawa Valley Meats and the high quality of
so much.
what they provide. My Nona actually said when we were processing the pork this past February that it looked like meat from the porks that she raised when she was growing up in the mountains of Italy, that it was the closest thing that she'd seen in the almost 50 years that she's been in Canada.
Oh, awesome.
So kudos to you guys. I mean, I can't wait to dig in. I am going to be finishing up all this meat on the break, and I'm going to be throwing on some peaches, pineapple, and corn to finish this all up. Honestly, Neil, I can't thank you enough for bringing me this great meat. We're going to have
You're
a
more
fun
than
party
welcome.
today, and check them out, guys. There is no better meat quality in the city right now than Ottawa Valley Meats. So stay tuned. We'll see you after the break when I'm finishing this all up and getting my party ready so we can get eating.
When grilling, the overall cook times will vary based on a number of factors, including the type of meat, its thickness, the device you're cooking on, and the differential between the temperatures inside and outside of the grill or smoker, especially in colder and hotter months. The best way to ensure the meat has reached the proper internal temperature is to use a digital food thermometer. Insert the probe into the thickest part of the meat all the way to the middle without touching any bone, as it may give an inaccurate reading. For burgers and thinner steaks, it is best to insert the temperature probe from the side. Make sure to check each cut separately and not poke them too much, as the juices can escape. For more information on the recommended cooking temperatures and the safe handling of food, search canada.ca/general food safety tips or your local health agency.
Grilling fruit. Grilling fruit is not something that a lot of you are used to or that you see very often, but it's actually one of my favorite things to do. What do I look for in a fruit when I'm grilling it? I'm looking for a fruit that has nice surface area and a bit of substance and isn't too crazy juicy. So my 2 favorite fruits to grill are pineapple, of course, and peaches or nectarines. They really hold up well on the grill, but other fruits that would do really well are watermelon or papaya or anything that you can slice. Even a banana that has a nice surface area would grill really nice. Grilled fruit goes nice with meats as it gives a salty and sweet contrast, but you can also use grilled fruit for desserts. Chop this up, add it to a bowl of ice cream, and delicious. I've got all my grilled stuff on the platter resting. We always want our meat to rest after we cook it so that it can redistribute the juices nicely, and so when I slice into it, all my juices don't go everywhere. We've got 6 people outside right now. Neil's setting up the table and cleaning up the barbecue for me while I get the rest of this done. I'm going to be making a quick chimichurri. This is my favorite sauce to eat on steak. Usually you could take these ingredients and throw them in the blender, but I'm gonna do them by hand really quickly. A chimichurri is kind of like a pesto, but instead of basil, it's actually an array of different herbs. Some people have their own recipe where it's just, cilantro and mint and parsley. I like to do mine with cilantro, basil, mint, and chives. Some people put parsley in theirs, but I don't put any in mine. I've got my really small chopped garlic. I've got this lime that I'm going to roll and get all nice and juicy. Did you know that the limes that have the sticky outsides, they're typically dry inside? If you want a juicy lemon or a juicy lime, the rounder it is, the juicier it is. Cut that in half. Don't try this at home, but I'm just gonna make sure I get all the juice out. This way I don't dirty another dish by using a fork or a citrus juicer. All right, I'm gonna grab a little handful of fresh basil. Oh, my favorite smell. Some fresh mint that I'm just gonna pull off. You could line this up really nicely and make chiffonade, but I want to make my herbs really, really small, so I'm not actually being too fancy about it. I've got cilantro. I like to use a lot of cilantro, more than the other herbs, and some beautiful chives for that onion flavor. I'm gonna roll this all up so that I can get it as small as possible. I'm gonna be cutting the steak in a minute, and I'm gonna slice it up and then pour this chimichurri on top. But the reason I like to cut the steak, especially when it's a backyard party and it's gonna be served buffet style like this where people make their own plate, everyone loves the steak. Every time I do a party, steak is usually the first thing to go. So I'm gonna slice the steak to make sure that everyone outside can get a piece of it. And the rest I'll just leave whole. There's enough sausages for everybody. And chicken and pork chops always tend to be the last thing to go on the platter when I'm doing a party. I wish you guys could smell this. It is just intoxicating. That's small enough for me. Get that in there. Some people will also use red wine vinegar instead of the fresh lime, which you can totally do. Since I'm putting the chimichurri on the steak, I can put my steak here after. I've got a little tiny bit of red pepper flakes just to add that little bit of bite, and a generous pinch of, maybe two, of salt. And I'm taking the lid off because I'm probably gonna use most of this olive oil. Give this a nice little stir. See? Use the rest of that olive oil so that I actually have a little bit of a sauce consistency. Again, if you did this in the blender, you could leave it rough like this, or you could blend it up to be really smooth, but I really like to eat it a little bit chunky. I'm gonna slice my steak. This steak should be medium to medium rare on the inside. I've allowed it to rest for about 12 minutes now before I'm going to slice into it. This means I won't lose as much juice. I'm going to slice on an angle. We always slice our meat against the grain, so we have the lines in the meat going this way, so I'm going to cut the opposite way. This will allow for the most tenderness in the bite, and that way it won't be tough in any manner. These are strip steaks though, so they're not really tough at all. They happen to be a really nice tender piece of steak that doesn't even need much marinating, just a little salt and pepper like I added to mine. Look at that. Still nice and pink inside. This is about a medium. Yum. My favorite part is the little ends here that are crispy and have the most char on them. I'll get this back on the platter. When you're entertaining, it's nice in the summertime especially to do it in a platter, because then people can make their own portion. When it's really hot out, some people like to eat a lot and some don't eat that much in the heat, so allowing everyone to make their own plate is best. And these are also really great leftovers to have. Who doesn't like a cold piece of grilled meat with some leftover grilled veggies? I do. This one's a little bit more medium rare. Look how pretty and nice and pink that is. Beautiful. And I'm gonna take my chimichurri. I don't have a spoon, so I'm just gonna pour this on there. Oh, look at that. That smells delicious. I'm going to get the rest of this cleaned up, and I'm going to be bringing this stuff outside to set up for my party. But I think I need to sneak a little taste before anyone else knows. And then I'm gonna head outside to set up the table. We'll see you next time.